Hello, and welcome back to Explain the Charts. Today is May 13th, 2025, and we're taking a look at Bitcoin, BTCUSD, combining the latest news and in-depth chart analysis. Let's get started. First, let's quickly recap some of the recent news. We see headlines about Bitcoin profit-taking around the $106,000 level, suggesting some investors are securing their gains after a significant run-up. There's also news regarding American Bitcoin, a Trump-backed Bitcoin miner, going public, signaling increased institutional participation. Also, we saw yesterday news that MicroStrategy has acquired more Bitcoin, demonstrating their ongoing long-term bullish sentiment. Binance CEO Richard Tung also mentioned that Bitcoin remains a flagship crypto asset, a resilient store of value amid global economic uncertainty, which is helping sustain the long-term view on Bitcoin and preventing any major sell-offs. Now, let's switch to the daily chart to see how these events are reflected in Bitcoin's price action. Looking at the daily chart, we can see Bitcoin has experienced substantial growth since the beginning of the year. The recent candles show some consolidation, potentially indicating the profit-taking mentioned in the news is playing out. Notice the long green candle on May 20th, 2024, indicating the market bullishly reacted to some news or event. Notice also the large drop on August 5th, 2024, followed by a strong retracement. Let's narrow our focus to the last few months, from March 1st, 2025, to today. We observe a period of high volatility, particularly around early March. Then, note the large drop on April 2nd, 2025, and the subsequent struggle to reclaim those price levels. Now, if we look at the 1-hour chart, we can zoom in for finer detail. It shows a more granular view of the recent price movement. We can observe that even with the overall upward trend, Bitcoin has not crossed its all-time high of $107,857 on December 16, 2024. We can see more clearly the retracement periods, and it may be argued that Bitcoin is forming a bear flag. We can also see on the 1-hour chart that the volume is decreasing, which may indicate that Bitcoin is nearing a local bottom or an upwards breakout point. Looking closer at the 15-minute chart over the last couple of days, from May 11th onward, we see a relatively choppy price action. There isn't a clear directional bias currently, with prices fluctuating within a narrow range. This could signal a period of indecision in the market as traders assess the impact of the news and technical indicators. Key price levels to watch include support around $60,000, which acted as a strong support level in April 2024, and more recently around the $100,000 mark. On the upside, resistance lies near the recent all-time high of around $107,857.79. If Bitcoin breaks above this level, we could see a push towards $120,000 or even $130,000 in the short term, especially if positive news regarding institutional adoption continues. However, if Bitcoin fails to hold the support, a retest of lower levels is possible. Considering the current market dynamics, the likelihood of Bitcoin reaching $120,000 in the short term is moderate, around 60%. This depends on continued positive sentiment and sustained buying pressure. A break below the $60,000 level would invalidate this bullish scenario. For the long term, predictions of Bitcoin reaching $500,000 or even $1 million are possible, but rely on factors like wider adoption, ETF success, and favorable regulations. In summary, keep a close eye on the $60,000 support and the $107,857.79 resistance levels. Watch for further news regarding U.S.-China trade discussions and any regulatory developments, as those things can affect market sentiment. That's all for today's analysis on Explain the Charts. Thanks for watching and happy trading!